Welcome back to the World Cup wrap-up part 6, and on tonight's episode, it's a bit of Uno reverse stuff between England and Australia, as Australia are back and England suck. We are, of course, talking about maybe the greatest upset in the history of the World Cup, in Afghanistan beating England, and how Australia was almost banned from returning home after Sri Lanka went from 125 for none to 209 all out, and now the Aussies are back, or are they? This is the Maximum Cricket Podcast. My name is Munter. We are joined by Lugsy and Jacko, as always. Boys, any danger of a close game in this World Cup? I couldn't be more sick of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to see the game's done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're getting up at 4, your shift's starting, all you want with your coffee and your brekkie is just maybe... We'll take 10 to 15 of good cricket at this point, eh? Like, but not an hour. We don't want 2 hours. Just 10 to 15 of close cricket would be nice. Even if it's like 9 down, chasing something low, and you just watch them eke home. Like, yeah, we're waiting for this World Cup to start. It feels like World Cups don't start till you have a close game.
Yeah, we've really taken that Pakistan win against Sri Lanka for granted. I mean, they romped home with a couple overs to spare, really, and that might be as good as we get this World Cup. I mean, I was like, as I said, I got up for that last 5 overs and I was like, oh yeah, they've actually cruised home here, and little did I know that's as good as it gets.
It's just like
there's another World Cup. Boys, nearly fuck that.
Yeah,
like there's another World Cup going on with the Rugby World Cup, and like I'm. You know, as a New Zealander, you do follow a bit of rugby, but I mean, the cricket's where the heart is. But we just had 2 of the all-time rugby games going down to the wire, and I just want to see it in the cricket version. I just need it. I need it. We've got some big games coming up, but I just need it.
There's been zero incentive for like the neutral to buy into this World Cup, isn't there? Like as you said, I'm not adding an hour onto my day to watch, Afghanistan cruise home 5 down or whatever it is. Like there hasn't been anything to draw you in to watch games you're not interested in. Like I'm not tuning in for anything that's not Black Caps yet, and I don't feel that like drive to, because nothing's been close yet.
We've got 2 games we are covering today, as mentioned in the intro. We've got England, Afghanistan, Australia, Sri Lanka. Let's start off with one of the greatest upsets in world cricket, not just World Cup cricket. Happened when Afghanistan, a side who had not won a World Cup game since 2015, and that game was against Scotland by 1 wicket, and they played the current 50-over and T20 World Cup champions. And in the end, they convincingly won. England won the toss and opted not to turn up. 5 wides coming off the first ball set the tone for a awful power play for Chris Woakes and the rest of the England side. Chris Woakes, 4 overs for 41. Sam Curran, 4 overs for 46. They were the worst offenders. Gurbaz was unbelievable, smashing 80 off just 57 balls, as Afghanistan put on 114 in the first 16 overs without losing a wicket. England came back through the middle overs through Rashid's return to form. His 3 for 42 off 10 led the attack, but Livingston and even Joe Root got through some valuable overs. It was probably then that England realised they were going to be in some trouble as spin was starting to really dominate. Having said that, Afghanistan were 6 for 190 and sort of threatening to, get rolled for 210, 220, sort of game over type stuff. But Rashid Khan, Mujeeb, they made a valuable 20s. Afghanistan made a very, very competitive 284 all out. England needed to start well, and they couldn't, losing 3 wickets for 68 runs inside the first 12 overs. And then when Joss Buttler was cleaned up by Naveen with a snorter at 91 for 4, the game was slipping away for England. Harry Brook was batting on another wicket as he played beautifully for his 66 off just 61. Really felt like a coming of age sort of knock, but he had no help. England, they lost wickets regularly as they were bowled out for 215. The Afghan spinners were unstoppable. They took 8 wickets combined for about 100 runs. The pick, Rashid Khan, who in his previous meeting between the two sides at the World Cup had figures of 9 overs for 110 with no wickets. This time round, 3 poles, 30 off 37, 3 poles for 37 off his 10. Boys, quite simply, what the fuck is going on with England?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Mate. Kudos to Rashid from stopping himself at 9 overs in that previous meeting. I know we've discussed that. You want to get in the back catalogues of that, but it's still one of the great ploys to just hold yourself off. I've gone for it enough. To be fair, I think the World Cup sort of needed this in a way. Like this, I got asked for sort of like a senior manager partner at work, and they're like, "What's been happening in the Cricket World Cup?" And I went, "You won't believe me, but Afghanistan have beaten England." And it was a genuine like shock moment. So might have just provided that wee jolt we were looking for the World Cup. England, they do this though, don't they? This is, I hate to say, this is status quo. That big loss to Ireland in the past, they've slipped up to minnows quite sort of regularly. So this is a big one, but not a shock. And I mean, we're talking England, but I don't do much fact checking of this, but when I read this fact that I've got for the boys here, I was honestly like gobsmacked. And if it's even close to true, this is quite shocking. Mohammed Nabi, England is the 53rd country he's defeated in a game of cricket. No, 43rd, sorry. If this is close to true, he's beaten China. He's beaten Argentina. The Maldives have got it from him. So of all the spectacular things, Nabi's got 43 victories against 43 different countries.
Oh, you said there was going to be a stat, and that was not on my bingo for a stat. That's a good stat.
That's unbelievable.
Did no one else play these games?
Well, obviously when they were like a deep as a minnow, like he's the only one that survived.
Yeah, Rashid's played against 32 teams, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine the Maldives are putting up much fight, but geez, Afghanistan can't even do much to play them.
That's got to be some sort of record. I didn't know 43 sides played cricket, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's the big takeaway from that.
Either. So,
bring on the Olympics.
Mr. International.
I would really like to talk about England's seam attack. Now I threw sort of an outlandish take at you guys in the chat, saying that they could be the worst seam attack at this World Cup. Probably a little bit caught up in the moment, but genuinely, I don't think I would put them 8th. I reckon they've got the 8th best seam attack. I reckon there's something wrong with England's seam attack right now. They can't take power play wickets. They got no wickets in the middle. They can't bowl death. The magic dust is worn off Sam Curran to his core. He's just in it. He's a bits parts cricketer. In the end, he's become.
Yeah, clip in some historic takes from Munter here, just so he can really have his wee victory lap.
He can't. I mean, who's the next cab off the rank? Because he's got to be in danger here. He's 1 for 40 off 6 every game.
His brother's a better white ball cricketer, Tom.
Do they not have any genuine? Do they not have any genuine wicket takers? Like Wokes.
I reckon this is why Wokes is forgotten about. This is why when he came onto this Ashes series, I've forgotten he was even playing Test cricket. It's because he has these spells of magic, and then a series later, he's so hittable, doesn't look like taking a wicket.
Well, I don't understand what's going on with Wokes.
Yeah, no. And you wouldn't think with the bowling attack, like with Wood there with a bit of pace, you'd think they could do something up top, but it's not looking threatening at all. And then when they got on top yesterday on Monday night, they had a real chance to roll them for 200 and actually send a bit of a message, and they just let them off the hook, got them through to 280. And that just, when it came to their batting, that just added that bit of scoreboard pressure when they lost wickets up top. It just meant that they couldn't quite sort of settle the way they should have when they were batting. And it really cost them. Their bowling's in all sorts at the moment.
Yeah, I just don't know how they sort of turn it around. I mean, the batting, I think they'll be fine. I think we've talked about in the past. They'll figure it out at some point, and on any given day, they could chase anything. Anything if required. But let's talk about Afghanistan, because they were unbelievable. And what I enjoy about, are they a minnow? Are they not? I mean, it's they're definitely underdogs. There's no doubt about it. But they came out firing. They weren't timid at all. Like Gurbars was just electric.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's questions about how old he is, if he's 21 or not, but he is fucking good. He is a genuine player. Like his IPL potential. Some of those shots through the covers, he was destroying the England attack. Like you could forgive them for sort of being overawed by like such a, they're this is a dominant one-day side for the last 8 years. And Gurbars has just gone, no, I'm going to fuck his over.
What I've really enjoyed about Afghanistan is like just massive. And that's what you want from your smaller nations. It's just massive enthusiasm from them. Real sort of spring in their step. Decided they're just going to take the game to England with bat and ball. Which is massive. And they've also won that game despite one of the all-time poor performances by their skip. I mean, he's ran out Gurbaz and done the classic like, fuck, I'm not going back to face him here. I'm just hanging around for as long as I can. I mean, he's 14 off 36 in that performance and run out the best player we've got. That's honestly one of the worst innings you'll see in one-day cricket these days. So, despite that, they've still got the chocolates.
Yeah, I mean, they just sort of came out how they needed to, didn't they? They're playing with no fear. That they're sticking it to these bigger teams. So, full credit to you. And yeah, one of the best things and one of the best sprays, which the skip's definitely gotten from the English, hopefully, is fuck, mate, you better not join him in the shed anytime soon because he's going to be waspy with you. These classic moments. There's always happens in cricket, and you just hope that the sprays that you give out in club cricket are the same ones that Joss and Johnny and stuff are giving him out in the middle there at the same time because it's a club cricketer mistake. So you're hoping he's getting club cricket chirp back.
I'll tell you what it has done this big win for Afghanistan is it's got the boys a bit nervous for this Black Caps game. Just their spin attack, very like they've got 3 spinners and they all sort of did different jobs and looked a bit different. Like old the name escapes me, but he bowls like a bit of a madman. But sort of had a couple of Yeah, Majid, he was great to
Open the
watch,
bowling.
but he just bowled like a bit of a like that action's going to take some getting used to. It just looked like a good spin attack, like 3 spinners who all did different things.
Yeah, I mean they took 8 wickets. Majid, he bowled mostly in the power play, but he took 3 for 51. Muhammad Nabi, who's played every country, 2 for 16 off 6, and then you got Rashid Khan 3 for 37. Like that is. I mean, there's an argument they have the best spin attack at this World Cup. It's probably them and India, to be fair.
I'd probably still take India.
I'd probably take India, but I mean, I think there's a conversation between these two sides, and New Zealand shouldn't be nervous, and I'm sure they're not nervous, but I'm nervous.
But we are.
It's Chennai spins. I could see us winning by 8 wickets with 100 balls to spare, and I could also see us lose. Genuine.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be much in between those two extremes either.
Oh, well, we know it won't be close. Don't worry about
that. Anything else you just want to touch on that game?
No, I just think England's probably feeling like they're not in that much danger, maybe with their batting power, but I just think they are in a bit more, they're in a bit more danger than they probably think. That bowling's a real problem that they've got to work out ASAP.
I think one of the issues is that they've lost to obviously us and Afghanistan, who are probably going into it I wouldn't say like they're not favourites. So that means they've still got India, South Africa. We've got South Africa on Saturday. That's going to be massive. They've got some big games coming up. They have to turn up, and they can't. They basically have to be perfect from now on.
Yeah, what? Just wonder what the next 7 countries are for Nabi to tick off to get to 50.
I reckon
New Zealand.
Basically, it'd be interesting to see what's off the list. Yeah, have we lost to Afghanistan?
Nah.
I reckon
we're one of the great minnow bashes. New Zealand are one of the great minnow bashes.
Surely he goes to that Olympics and ticks a few off. Yeah. Got to be some rogue nations playing cricket there.
Well, fuck, he's played the Maldives and China in cricket, so I think he's ticked off the rogue ones.
Yeah. Righto, let's do Aussie Sri Lanka. It was a must win for both sides as Sri Lanka chose to bat as expected. Or as it was expected to get harder to bet on. Looked pretty good after 21 overs as Nasanka and Pereira put the Aussie bowlers to the sword, putting on 125 for the opening wicket. There is no doubt there must have been plenty of nerves in that Aussie camp at that stage for sure. We have bagged, I have definitely bagged Cummins as the one-day skip on this podcast. But to his credit, he stepped up big time in this game. When the chips were down, he turned to himself. He dismissed both the openers on his way to 243 off 10. This sparked an all-time collapse from Sri Lanka. They lost 10 wickets for 84 runs to be all out for 209. Apart from Nasanka and Pereira, who made 61 and 78 respectively, only one other batter made double figures. Adam Zampa managed 447 to return to form when his side needed it the most. The reply was shaky at best to start with. David Warner and Steve Smith were dismissed in the fourth over by Madhushanka. After Smith was dismissed, Madhushanka had figures of 2 wickets for none and Australia were 24 for 2. However, Mitchell Marsh was excellent for his runnable 51. He really set the tone, smashing the first ball of the innings over the bowler's head for a boundary. He combined with Marsh, who made 40, and after Marsh was dismissed, he was replaced by under pressure Josh Inglis. To his credit, Inglis made the chase a canter, making 58 off 59. Maxwell and Stoinis came out and whacked it as Australia won with 15 overs to spare and 5 wickets in the shed. Boys, what camp are you in? Are you in the camp that Australia are back, or are they a little bit lucky to get over the line and this is just a Sri Lanka after all?
Yeah, it's tough. I'll say this, until Aussie's out of contention for the top 4, I'm nervous about them. It just feels like they've got guys. Cromarty sort of alluded to it sort of earlier. I'll let him speak on the bowlers but it just feels like if you go in like guy for guy, who's a guy, Stark's a guy, Cummins a guy, Smith's a guy, like they've just got players all through their list that have done it before in the big moments, are just good cricketers. So they still look shaky. This isn't a huge win. Like Sri Lanka, if they don't melt there, they could score just all the runs. But until they're knocked out of that final 4, I'll be nervous about them. But I don't think they're back fully yet.
Yeah, like I'll never not think they're a chance. Obviously, we've been burnt too often by them as Kiwis fans, and like. If they play 3 minnows, in a row, you still expect them to win a lot of these games, starting with Sri Lanka. Like they have lost to 2 big nations at least. But I will say on their bowling, I always watched the first couple of hours and I was pretty big on them as a message sort of pre-game. And that probably took me off them again. Like there's just not. I know Cummins came back and got those couple of wickets, but between them, like up top at least, they're not looking particularly threatening at all. Hazelwood, Cummins, like Maxwell's bowling 6th, 7th over of that game. Like that I know it's India, but like when that trio's at their best, he's not getting a sniff of that. Positive signs. Zampa looked back, which is good. I think he's still a class cricketer. And I think that sort of run chase is what they could do really well. Like normally, I think it would be led by a Steve Smith, but I think if they can get any sort of platform with Stoinis and Maxi there, I think there's still a big chance they can get some big scores. By no means writing them off, but I still don't. I don't know. I don't like them to make the semis. I don't give them much of a chance to go all the way, but they'll still beat a lot of sides.
Yeah, I think you touched on it, Lugsy, where they did lose to India, who most teams are going to lose to India, and they lost to South Africa, who are unbeaten as well. So, unlike in England, they should, in theory, have easier games to come, and they've sort of taken care of one of them. So, if they can sort it out, there's potential that they can sort of get on a wee run. But I think one of their bigger problems is that they're not getting enough out of Smith and Warner. Like it's just, I think there's a stat where they both scored the same amount of runs and they're only averaging 21 each. And I think the big difference, there's a few differences. They're definitely underperforming, but a lot of the top sides, they've got guys scoring runs. India, Rohit, Gill, Coley, and some. New Zealand, we've got Conway, Mitchell, even Ravindra. There's plenty of runs. Kane, if he's playing, he's obviously a gun. South Africa's, they had a game, they had 400s. I think if Smith and Warner aren't going to do that, they won't make the semis unless those two turn it around. If those two can turn it around and they start scoring bulk runs, you add in Travis Head, who for some reason, now seems like the best cricketer ever. He's not available. Really sort of, I don't know why they're really missing him, but it does look like there's a hole there. He probably comes in for Marnus. But if they're not getting those bulk runs out of Smith and Warner, that's going to be a problem. Having said that, if they beat Pakistan on Friday, they are genuinely back in this because Pakistan are probably in a similar boat. If Pakistan win that game, they'll be pretty close to out from there because that's someone that they're competing with. But if they beat Pakistan, maybe South Africa beats England or something like that, which could happen. It's all on. So I wouldn't rule them out yet, but I wouldn't be putting money on them.
No. Just quietly, touching on Josh Ingles sort of coming in and scoring runs. Alex Carey, he's got to do another like just sort of juju reversal. He had that great bit of walking into the pool. Test career took off. His career took off. Sort of Mancads, Stumps, Bairstow. He's out of the side. He's out of the World Cup. So if I was Alex Carey, I'd find the nearest pool and walk straight to it and make sure it's on socials. So reset his career, sort of thing.
I mean, social media is a great tool. I mean, and he's going to need it to get back in the side now, unfortunately. I think the positive, I guess, for Aussie, I guess it's one of those things, same as sort of we're talking about with Pakistan, is there's a lot of guys sort of still not at their best. So you've got to take the coin of will they actually hit their best, or is this just going to be their form for this tournament? Because if it is, as you say, Munter, they won't go very far. But if they can get a bit more out of their seamers and get some runs out of Smith and Warner, and it comes together, then you're always going to be scared of Aussie.
100%.
I wonder as well, just looking back, obviously it will depend on how the rest of the World Cup goes, but if England and Aussie both still look sort of average in 2 weeks' time, I wonder just how much that Ashes series sort of took out of both sides, because they both look flat and a little bit just off the game. I know obviously there's changes in the personnel, but you've got 8 or 9 guys that were in both camps. So that Ashes series, whilst brilliant, looks like it's actually taken a real toll on both camps at this stage.
Fair point. That's a fair point. Righto, let's go worst take, or we could be changing the name. It's sort of like a worst take, bit of miscellaneous stuff, bit of keep the receipts because there's some good takes in there, a few rants, just a bit of all sorts. My first, this is a genuine worst take. This is directed at Michael Clarke, who on his radio show a mere hours from the kickoff of the Australia-Sri Lanka game, he's gone on and said, I heard last night that Pat Cummins was not to be selected in that game. Fast forward 3 hours, he's doing the toss. So that's just a flat out poor take. There's no sort of questioning that one. And my other nomination is on the last podcast, I believe, we all said that the team that bowls first wins unless it's against a minnow. Well, England bowled first against a minnow and they lost. So that's a big miss from us. Any other nominations, boys?
Yeah, we're on the hot seat. We're definitely on the hot seat. I mean, you just have to look at our picks and preview show in the top charts. I don't think a single person we mentioned is in the top wicket takers chart. And I'd hate to see the batting line right now, personally. But it's a long tournament. We'll come back. Receipts are only good when you catch them. So hopefully we'll come good as well. But yeah, our top wicket taker punting not looking good either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys listen to podcasts, but you actually don't bring up the negatives. So I don't know what we're doing here. Yeah, I'll just let me just fire off some reviews because I just can't see how we're this far through cricket these days and reviews are still absolutely like bottled so often. Like fast bowlers for starters, they can review whatever they want. I mean, I'm sorry, Jackson, but they just get to review whatever they want, and the captain just looks scared of them every time. Like you get a fast bowler with a temper, and he's just going to be allowed to review it no matter what happens. Spinners
make him captain, and you can review anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that Stark one. He's hit it. It's going down leg. It's pitched outside leg.
Stark's just.
I'll let you on a secret. I wouldn't have seen half the LBWs that I've appealed for in my career. I don't reckon. Like your head's down, you're in your action. You're like half the time you don't even fucking Scooby what's going on, and you're just going up. Captain goes, that seemed good. You're not going to say, nah, mate.
No, yeah,
heaps, and then he looks up and it's dead. So it's always dead, mate. Your wickets are always out too.
Yeah, and then spinners seem to get nothing. I mean, they just don't carry the same weight as a quick.
Poor Maxwell. He got one declined, and then they didn't go upstairs for it, and it was out.
Oh yeah. Last night was a peeler of an example. And then bloody batsmen. I hate when batsmen review one that's close, and it turns out like it's umpires call out. They go upstairs. It's close. It's just clipping, and they just like give it plenty. Like if it's clipping, and you didn't have a pad,
Bairstow did that. Warner did that.
The whole point. It's the whole.
It's a shocker.
Reviews in general, they've really got up me lately.
Yeah, I think players have like taken it too far because like, it got brought in to remove the howler, and you get a few extras and you get a couple of close ones. You're like, fuck it. Why didn't the umpire say it the other way and I'll be safe again, sort of thing. But I mean, the grey area is why cricket's great, and it's why that human element of umpiring is great. And I love having the umpires call there because it does keep some sort of 50-50 calls as a judgment call. So. You just got to tone those reactions down. Just slap them with a big boy fine and get them to fuck up.
Also, I'll tell you what was nice to see. A bit of rain last night in that Australia game. And I always like to see it. I know Warner doesn't get a lot of praise in this country, but just nice to see him bringing on the covers. Felt very grade cricketer, and I quite like that.
Yeah, there's a bit on that. Good work with David. All right, anything else, or should we wrap her up?
Nah.
Yeah, no, all good.
Righto. That is us for another World Cup wrap up. The competition is really about to heat up as we have, as I said, Aussie, Pakistan, England versus South Africa, and India versus New Zealand all this weekend. If you enjoy these wrap ups, hit that like, hit that subscribe button on the tube, or have a look at Patreon for some audio only action when you are out and about. Thanks to Lugsy and Jacko as always, and we'll catch you guys after Aussie, Pakistan.
Did I just mishear that? Did I hear we've got India, New Zealand this weekend?
Yeah, it's a Sunday job.
I thought it was Pakistan, New Zealand.
No, Pakistan, Australia on Friday. And England, South Africa.
Monday public holiday. Shut the gate.
Oh, there's no sleep till Christmas.
Dude. Okay.
Yeah, that's some big games.
Trying to out NFL after that as well, Crom.
Here you go here.
Big Mungie.
Righto. Catch you later.
Catch you.